Have you ever had the strange feeling that you're reliving the same experiences, as if life is a movie on repeat? A scientist recently warned that we might actually be trapped in a time loop, a cycle we're unaware of but experience endlessly, going through the same motions and events over and over. So if we're caught in this cycle, how can we find a way out? Trapped in a time loop. The time loop isn't just science fiction. Theories of such phenomena have fascinated both ancient cultures and modern thinkers alike, hinting that our reality may be much more layered than we realize. And what if the key to escaping it lies not in some futuristic technology, but in understanding the hidden powers within ourselves? To fully grasp this concept, let's turn to John Archibald Wheeler, one of the most influential physicists of the 20th century, and the first person to talk about the time loop. Wheeler's work suggested that time is not a linear one-way street, but rather a complex web, a sort of feedback loop. His participatory anthropic principle postulated that the very act of observing the universe could influence its fundamental nature, suggesting that consciousness and physical reality are deeply interconnected. Wheeler famously coined the term "it from bit," which posits that every particle, every event, and possibly even time itself stems from information. In this view, reality is less about solid, unchanging facts and more about a constant flux of data. Time, then, may not be a fixed dimension, but something shaped by our interaction with it. Wheeler's insights raised the fascinating possibility that we're active participants in the creation of our universe and perhaps even our timelines. Expanding on this, Wheeler theorized that past and future events might be intertwined through what he called a self-excited circuit. Imagine this like a loop of energy and information where past, present, and future continuously influence one another. This framework implies that time may behave like a closed circuit rather than a straightforward path. If this is true, our perception of time as something unchanging and forward-moving could be an illusion, a mental construct shaped by human consciousness. To fully grasp this concept, we need to turn to some of the world's oldest philosophies. In ancient Hinduism, the idea of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, suggests that we're bound to repeat patterns until we reach a breakthrough in our spiritual journey. This belief doesn't just pertain to the afterlife, it's also seen as a representation of our daily lives, where we keep facing the same challenges, encountering the same types of people, and struggling with familiar emotions until we finally recognize the lesson we're meant to learn. This is what many call being stuck in a rut. Modern scientists exploring the nature of time are beginning to arrive at conclusions that align with these ancient beliefs. According to the theory of block universe physics, time may not flow in the way we think it does. Instead, past, present, and future could all be equally real, existing simultaneously within a fixed framework. Imagine then that our experiences are not happening one after the other, but are all layered on top of each other. If we're indeed moving through this layered existence, it would make sense that certain energies or events might feel eerily repetitive. But if this is true, how can we ever truly break free? The first step is to consider that time is more than a linear experience. It's something we might be able to interact with or even transcend. Ancient cultures spoke about this in their parables and teachings. This aligns with the idea that if we can disengage from the autopilot mode we often fall into, we may find a portal into a more fluid reality, where time is no longer a rigid structure. Consider too the idea of déjà vu, the odd sensation of familiarity when experiencing something for what appears to be the first time. Could these moments be glimpses of the time loop? Some scientists speculate that déjà vu might be our consciousness aligning with different points in time, perhaps hinting that our awareness can stretch beyond the here and now. If so, learning to be fully aware of these moments might be a way to disrupt the loop and open ourselves to new possibilities. But it's not just about sitting quietly and calming the mind. Breaking free from a time loop also requires a shift in perspective. Often we feel trapped because of our attachments to past stories, beliefs, and fears. Once again, we turn to Buddhism, where there is a teaching called anicca, or impermanence, which reminds us that everything is always changing. By embracing this principle, we can loosen the grip of our memories and expectations, opening ourselves to the idea that each moment is new and full of potential. When we learn to see life as fluid rather than fixed, we give ourselves the freedom to respond differently to familiar situations. And with each new response, we weaken the hold of the time loop. In moments when the loop feels particularly strong, when you feel as though you're living the same patterns over and over, try a simple practice of grounding yourself in the present. Take a few deep breaths, look around, and remind yourself that this moment has never happened before and will never happen again. This awareness has the power to shift your energy, helping you become more conscious of your choices instead of automatically repeating past reactions. To escape the time loop or not. Now imagine the time loop as a well-worn path through a dense forest. It's familiar, predictable. You know each twist, each stone along the way. This can bring comfort, a sense of security. In the same way, the cycles we experience in life, whether they're emotional, relational, or even career-based, offer stability. These loops provide an opportunity for learning, repetition that ingrains lessons and hones our instincts. If, for instance, we keep encountering similar struggles in relationships, it may be a chance to understand ourselves on a deeper level. To break free prematurely could mean missing out on these lessons, leaving gaps in our understanding that might need to be filled down the line. Yet there's a flip side. Remaining in the time loop can also mean getting stuck in stagnation, living in a continuous echo of the past. Instead of moving forward, we end up rehearsing old scenes, never allowing ourselves the full experience of growth. Life becomes a series of reruns, and the excitement of discovery fades into a steady hum of predictability. Without fresh experiences, our spirit, the very essence of what makes us human, can feel dulled. The same comfort that once felt reassuring begins to feel like confinement, and soon the loop becomes a cage of our own making. In this sense, breaking free becomes a call from the soul to embrace new horizons and to challenge ourselves with the unknown. Leaving the loop can offer profound benefits, even beyond personal growth. When we step out of cycles, we gain a broader perspective on life. Like a bird soaring above the landscape, breaking free from familiar paths allows us to see connections, patterns, and relationships that weren't visible from within the loop. This clarity can inspire creativity, new ideas, and a renewed sense of purpose. Suddenly, we're no longer bound by old stories or limited beliefs. With each step outside the loop, our potential expands, bringing us closer to who we're truly meant to be. But freedom also comes with its challenges. When you step outside the loop, the world feels larger, but it also feels unpredictable. There's no familiar route to follow, no set answers to cling to. At times, this freedom can feel disorienting, even overwhelming. We lose the safety net of routine, of knowing what to expect. Every choice becomes a leap of faith, and the road ahead is filled with the unknown. This uncertainty is what holds so many of us back, keeping us within the loop where things are comfortable, manageable. For some, the unpredictability of the unknown outweighs the promise of new possibilities, and so they choose to stay, even when a part of them longs for something more. The delayed choice experiment. Wheeler even experimented with the concept of cause and effect to understand the secrets of the time loop. He performed the delayed choice experiment. In the experiment, particles of light or photons behave in ways that defy common sense. They act differently based on whether or not they're observed. And even more bizarrely, the act of observing can happen after the photon has already passed through the apparatus. This setup implies that a choice made in the present can alter what has already happened in the past. Wheeler proposed that time might be able to reach back and influence itself, as though the very fabric of reality is constantly shifting based on conscious interaction. This experiment opens up profound possibilities about the power of our consciousness. Imagine if, much like these photons, our lives and choices are subject to a kind of quantum fluidity, a state where our thoughts and intentions resonate throughout time, not just forward but backward as well. This echoes ancient spiritual teachings that speak of timelessness and the interconnectedness of all moments. In many spiritual traditions, there's the notion that the past, present and future are interwoven, existing not as separate entities, but as a unified experience where the consciousness of the observer plays a crucial role. The delayed choice experiment gives a scientific parallel to this, suggesting that observation or awareness influences not only outcomes we see, but possibly the moments we believe are fixed in time. In practical terms, Wheeler's experiment invites us to think of reality not as rigid and linear, but as a flexible field in which our present actions and mindset have the power to shape past perceptions and future realities alike. This concept mirrors the teachings on the I am state we've discussed, whereby deeply embodying a reality we desire, we begin to shift toward it, as if selecting it from an array of infinite potential paths. If consciousness can alter the past, then being truly aware, actively present and aligned with our highest intentions might influence not only where we're headed, but also the meaning of the experiences we've already had. Change your perspective of time. Wheeler's findings are remarkably similar to ancient spiritual teachings that describe time as cyclical or even illusory. In both Wheeler's theory and these traditions, there's a suggestion that by changing our perspective, by becoming more conscious of our relationship with time, we might transcend it. For Wheeler, the self-excited circuit implies that just as an electric current moves through a loop, our actions and choices create ripples that echo throughout time, influencing both the past and the future. Wheeler's theories offers a scientific lens on the mystical idea of timelessness. In understanding time as something flexible, even participatory, we may gain insight into how it could be possible to exit the time loop. If time is not strictly linear, then we may not be bound by it in the ways we've traditionally believed. We can develop better awareness of our time to then step into the control room of our life. Become aware of your time. Remember that time isn't just a measurement of minutes or hours, it's a flow of energy that you interact with, even shape. Each moment we experience is like a small ripple in a vast ocean, and when you become fully conscious of how you spend these moments, you start to create the kind of ripples that can shape your future, your perception of the past, and the depth of your present experience. Every day is like receiving a blank slate, a fresh canvas. Most of us rush through our days on autopilot, letting routines and habits guide us, unaware of how those choices define our relationship with time. But the moment you wake up to your own awareness, you shift from simply moving through time to actually using it. Awareness of time doesn't mean obsessively counting minutes, but instead embracing each moment as a choice, an opportunity to create meaning. This shift in perception has an immediate impact on your life. As you become more intentional with your time, you begin to feel more connected to the present. Your experiences become richer, more vibrant, and filled with purpose. It's like opening your eyes to a deeper layer of reality, one where time is no longer a limitation, but a powerful tool for creating the life you desire. And yet, this isn't just about mindfulness or living in the moment. It's about understanding that time, like any other form of energy, responds to your focus and intent. If you constantly focus on the past or worry about the future, that's where your energy will flow, creating more of those experiences. However, when you center yourself in the present and align your energy with a conscious purpose, time begins to work with you rather than against you. Consider this: every time you make a choice from a place of true awareness, you are aligning with a greater flow. You become not just a passive traveler in time, but an active participant, able to redirect your path and create harmony between your intentions and actions. This harmony is a rare state, a kind of personal mastery that deepens your understanding of yourself and strengthens your ability to transform your life. So, how can you cultivate this awareness of time? Start by observing your daily patterns. Notice where your mind tends to wander, the moments when you're fully present and the ones when you feel scattered. Gradually, you'll start to see patterns, the places where your energy might be getting drained or lost. Once you're aware of these moments, you'll have a greater ability to reclaim them, to turn them into points of focus and intention. Becoming aware of your time brings you face to face with your true potential. It puts you in the driver's seat of your life with a growing sense of control and empowerment. You are no longer a prisoner of the clock, but a co-creator of your experience. The reality of precognitive dreams. Once you become aware of your time, you might start having dreams that feel so vivid, so real, that they linger in your mind all day, leaving you with an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Then, days or even weeks later, you encounter that exact scene in real life, a moment of déjà vu that's hard to shake off. These are known as precognitive dreams, and they raise a curious question. What if these glimpses of the future aren't random? What if they're actually windows into something deeper, an insight into time itself? In Wheeler's theory, the future and the past aren't locked away in separate compartments, but could interact in ways that are far beyond our usual understanding. This means that moments in time, like our dreams or déjà vu experiences, could contain information from both the future and the past, creating a sense of overlap. It's as if time, in these moments, folds just enough to allow glimpses across its layers, giving us a chance to see events before they happen. When you start to pay attention to these kinds of dreams, you may notice patterns, messages, or feelings that seem to hint at what's to come. These aren't always crystal clear or detailed, but often reveal themselves in symbols, places, or faces that later become important in unexpected ways. It's as though the subconscious mind is picking up signals, processing them, and bringing them forward as dreams. This phenomenon could be the mind's way of interacting with Wheeler's time loop, pulling details from across time and weaving them into our awareness. But what does this mean for us in practical terms? It opens the possibility that we aren't merely passengers in the flow of time. By paying attention to dreams, gut feelings, or sudden flashes of insight, we might be able to navigate life with a unique guidance, a way to read subtle signals of what may come. These glimpses could serve as a guide to making choices, warning us of potential pitfalls, or pointing us toward paths we hadn't considered. In essence, by tuning into this deeper awareness, we begin to build a bridge between the conscious mind and the subconscious, between what we know and what we have yet to understand. So the next time you wake from a vivid dream that doesn't quite fade, consider the possibility that it holds a message for you. Keep a journal, jot down symbols, faces, or emotions. Over time, you may begin to recognize connections like puzzle pieces falling into place, revealing parts of a bigger picture. These dreams, according to Wheeler's theory, might just be moments when you're touching on the loop of time, seeing beyond the ordinary flow, and glimpsing the vastness of reality. And by acknowledging these insights, you begin to actively participate in the mysterious dance between time, consciousness, and the unfolding of your own life. As you recognize patterns within your dreams and connect them to your daily life, something profound begins to happen. The choices you make, the paths you explore, and even your reactions to challenges start to align with a larger rhythm, a rhythm that honors not only the present moment, but the cycles and lessons of all time. This alignment can serve as a guide in your spiritual journey, helping you transcend everyday fears or doubts. By grounding yourself in this greater flow, you may find that there's an inherent peace in your actions, a purpose in your experiences. You're not merely reacting to life, but actively participating in a deeper journey, guided by the wisdom that these dreams and symbols bring. This process deepens your sense of self too, teaching you to trust in your own intuition. Spiritual growth often involves the gradual awakening to our own inner knowing, and these dream insights are a gateway to that awareness. Each vivid dream, each symbol or feeling that persists, is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to move closer to the realization of who you truly are. Recognizing and honoring these messages is a sacred act, a way of acknowledging that within the vastness of reality, you are both student and creator, learning and shaping your path forward. And as you learn to recognize this interplay, you step into a powerful alignment with the flow of time, the rhythms of existence, and the truth of your own evolving spirit. Ultimately, whether or not to break free from the time loop is a deeply personal choice. But for those who feel the pull, who are ready to step into the unknown, the rewards can be transformative. In the end, the journey isn't about rejecting the loop entirely, it's about finding balance, embracing the lessons the loop has to offer while remaining open to new paths. To transcend the loop doesn't mean abandoning what we know. It means integrating the wisdom we've gained so that each step forward is taken with greater purpose, clarity, and intention. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.